February 9th, 2016. What broke you? Sometimes, I wish someone would ask me that in a private setting. In a place where I could freely sob and tell the tale of my painful life up until I reached adulthood. Where things got better, but how I suddenly didn't know how to go through life anymore. Being told I was nothing unless I could do everything perfectly, and that I wouldn't be loved unless I was a good daughter, and sometimes having that not be enough because in the end, it was never about me. It was about my parents and how they never figured their lives out, so they were unable to help me figure out mine. I think the problem was that I had a fresh start because I was new to the world. I knew nothing about anything, so I was free, essentially, or rather, in theory, in order to become any type of person who could accomplish absolutely anything. I was at the beginning, and it was impossible for my parents to ever have that for themselves ever again. So, because they were still so wrapped up in the troubles of their own lives and their own minds, they fucked up mine. Though I imagine that was unintentional. They didn't mean for that. It just sort of happened. But it still occurred. Nothing will change that. Both of them hated each other and themselves for how they were, and they couldn't find a pleasant solution. It just continued up until my birth, and long after. The screaming, the crying, the bruises, the lying, the accusing, the shouting, the blame, the poison, the fear, the unknowing, the lack of understanding, the pain, the negativity, the lack of kindness, no love, just trying to have a competition of who could make the other more uncomfortable, unwanted, and hurt. I'm not sure who suffered more. Was it mom and dad, or was it me, the kid? Personally, I think it was me. I never had a foundation where I felt safe. I never felt loved. My parents felt so distant all the time to the point where I wondered if I even mattered. I was always so angry and bitter because I didn't understand why my family was so different from my friends. When I became older, they didn't want anything to do with me. Dad was always playing on his computer with his games, and Mom was always watching TV. When they were in the same room, I was always on edge as of whether they'd get into a fight again or whether they would just ignore each other. I liked it better when they were strangers. Money was always tight, so I took special care of everything I had because I was always reminded that I would never receive a new replacement. And sometimes there would be little to eat for months at a time, and I would live off of whatever I could find. I got used to being hungry. It's only been just recently where I realized I didn't and wasn't living like that anymore. Somewhere along the way, that habit died. I could never trust anyone as a kid. My peers proved to be completely unaccepting through their constant bullying. And when I was thrown into foster care and my privacy was considered fair game, my trust in everything shattered to pieces. And when Mom would put me in counseling from elementary school onward, she encouraged me to not talk about what happened at home, because I would be taken away. Again. So there was really no point in going. Even now I'm still like that. I never liked talking about it. It's the most vulnerable part about me, and people pry on others' vulnerabilities. I don't even know why I'm talking about it now. Things aren't like this anymore. I'm on my own, though I always was anyway. That's part of the problem. Now that I'm essentially free from my cage, I don't know how to function. The world is very different from how I'm used to perceiving it. It's much kinder than my parents were and are to a certain extent. I just don't know how to act. I don't know how to be. I don't know who I am or what I am becoming. It's also terrifying because I'm lost in a whirlwind that's completely different from the one I was born with. I suppose everyone goes through this, but how does one get through it, and does it ever end? Does anyone get used to being a part of an individualistic society? Does anyone go numb from being alone? Does anyone feel lost out in this wasteland of what the fuck is going on? 'Cause I know that I always do. So, if someone was to ask me, what broke you? I'd say, being born.